So the guys that's out here saying Young ran out of information, he don't got nothing else to speak, man. We being muffled. Keep in mind we being muffled, uh, and banned, for lack of sort of say. Hey, we got Cheap Pontiac in the building, man. Let's get him on here. Oh, it's back. Hey, it's back cracking now. We told him. We gave him long
That,
enough. We stalled him long
yeah,
enough. Go
I
ahead.
came in. I came back in the game to hit this three at the last minute. We got .01 second left, one shot in the possession of the ball, and our team is about to inbound the ball. I'm about to shoot this last three.
Hey, man, look. Now I'm telling you, I had a long time. Hey, I had a long time to digest a lot of the stuff you said and you put out, and I got a whole, like, the picture that I got is so clear right now. It's just so clear on who doing us from the back, and everything is clear, man. It's like we, you know, hey, but we're gonna get started. But I wanted to ask you this question, man, because it's been bugging me all week, man. So what's up with the Trump? I mean, you probably don't want to talk about it, but like this the Trump thing of them putting them in court. He about to be in Atlanta tomorrow, supposed to turn himself in. Is this part of the last kick and scratch claw as they go out? Are they trying to take Trump down with them, or what the hell is going on here, man?
From my understanding, one of these judges just ruled that Trump had qualified immunity, and that don't apply to him.
Okay, okay,
Um, if he got qualified immunity, he must still be in office.
wow,
That ought to be the clue to the Trump situation.
wow.
But we got to watch it a little bit closer. All this stuff is smoke and mirrors.
That's what I feel. That's what I feel.
It's an actual physical war being fought on our land in the Americas right now that 99% of us is totally unaware of. All these forest fires, that's not no accident.
Go ahead.
They got deep state uh, private militaries with private bases on private land all across North America, Canada, and even some in Central and South America. So they've been using what they call low casualty weapons, basically strategic strikes with lasers. All this is part of the Star Wars. If you go back to Ronald Reagan in the Star Wars program, you
Go
can
ahead.
study they laser beams been running. They've been using lasers from satellites. Now, the irony of that is, according to flat earthers, we don't have no satellites up there.
Go ahead.
According to flat earthers, we in a closed dome. And according to flat earthers, they can't put satellites outside the dome. The irony of that is, if you're a flat earther, you got to explain where's these energy weapons because no planes is visible. Where they coming from?
Right.
You don't see no airplanes shooting the energy weapons. So where is they coming from? That's just some food for thought. But um, it is World War IV right now. Whether we know it or whether we don't know it, the war getting fought.
Go ahead.
What we trying to do is let the people know that it's a whole lot of stuff going on in our face, behind our back. Everything we can't see.
Okay.
It's a lot of political maneuverings going on. A lot of misinformation, disinformation. That's part of the media influential program,
Mm-hmm.
right? But where we trying to get to is a critical mass of awareness in the masses of the people about their self identity.
Mm-hmm.
Because they gonna have to People gonna have to start tracing back to the oldest living matriarch in their family. They're gonna have to start tracing back their heritage to where they from on the land in order to tie back into the tribes. So whatever going on, sooner or later, we gonna be with no power for anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 days. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm gonna tell you this. In the event that they shut everything down, if we don't know uh how to purify water, we in trouble. If you can't walk down to the lake, grab a bucket of water and know how to make it potable to eat, cook, and drink, you got a problem. These are things we need to look at.
That's right.
If you don't know somebody with a farm, what you gonna do when the grocery stores close down?
That's
What you
right.
gonna do, right? Because the grocery stores ain't gonna be able to run when the money ain't no good. That's the BRICS nations killing the American dollar in our face in real time. We watching it, but we don't think that it's gonna affect us until it affects us. So
Man, you,
whatever going on with Trump, it's gonna be a wake up call in the end.
man, you speaking some
And
heavy duty shit right now. On as far as like getting ready. Go ahead.
yeah, well, proper preparation prevents poor performance is what my literature tells me. So to be properly prepared, like I can live off the fat of the land. I know how to. I go hunt me some pigeons. I don't give a shit. I go hunt some pigeons. I go fishing. I can feed me,
Right? Go ahead.
right? And I got enough know-how. I know how to farm.
Right?
I've been doing gardens with my mama since I can remember. My mom used to tell me when we were doing the garden, and I thought she didn't know what she was talking about at the time. But she said, "Baby, there's gonna come a time where if you don't know how to grow no food, you're not gonna be able to eat."
Mm.
That's why I'm teaching you how to garden. That's why I got you out here while the other kids is playing, but you helping me in the garden. And you know me, I don't care, mama. Where you want me to put these collard
Yeah.
greens at? Right over here, baby. Put them right here next to these other collard greens in a straight line,
Yeah.
right? So I'm in the garden with my mama learning how to grow food. My siblings, some of them came out sometimes. I was out there all the time. See, our culture, one of the men in the family had to learn how to grow food, catch food, whatever it is. I went hunting with my father when I was a little boy because he said that he needed his sons to know what it was like to go out and have to shoot a rabbit. So we took a couple hound dogs from one of my father's friend's neighbor, went out there, went rabbit hunting. The snow was up to my knee. I'm a baby, 5, 6 years old. But you know what? I had the time out of my life learning how to hunt with pops,
Go ahead. That's right.
right? These is cultural teachings that we used to teach the boys years ago.
Man, we don't even go hunting no more.
Look, they took hunting because it required you to have a firearm.
And a license.
Nobody from a, nobody in none of the tribes was allowed to own a firearm. If you got caught with one, their rule was to shoot your ass first and ask questions later
Damn.
because you was assumed to be a domestic terrorist
Go ahead.
because you was belligerent to the system that said motherfuckers look like us don't carry firearms. That was a
Right.
rule. Matter of fact, if you want to check it out, pull up the recent Supreme Court ruling on the right to bear arms, and they just reversed it about 2 weeks ago.
Damn.
So we wasn't even all this time we thinking we part and party to the Constitution. We was excluded as 3/5 other.
Damn.
It's right in there. All we was taxed 3/5, right? Where did that come from? Those the POWs. If you a POW, you couldn't afford to be fully taxed. So all of the ones that's 3/5 compromise, Dred Scott, sleeper agents, they don't even know they working, who they working for, but they know they working for somebody.
Right.
But they don't know who it is because you ain't gonna never see Mr. Charlie face. Who is Mr. Charlie? Do you remember the last receipt drop I gave you a little earlier today, right before we got
Yeah,
started?
yeah, I got them all. You
I'm
want me to
about
pull
to
it up?
show you who Mr. Charlie is. His name was Charles V or Carlos Cinco.
Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, let's
So
see.
we all heard that term in the hood, in the country. We was worried about Mr. Charlie, Mr. Shackleford. Who is these people?
Yeah,
Shackleford is
right.
an actual last name. Where they come from?
The Shacklefords. I'm getting it
Mm-hmm.
pulled up. Uh, 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 all right, so you say, okay, the Shacklefords, the last receipt you sent me was these right here. Here we go, right here. Can you see
Right
my
here.
screen?
Okay. Slow down, slow down. You passed it.
Right
You passed what we looking for.
here?
Keep going. Go back. Keep going. Okay. This is Charles V.
Okay.
Can you blow that picture up at all?
You see it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, you see what he looked like, right?
Yeah. A lot of
All right. Remember what he looked like for the next picture. Okay. Read what it say. It say
Charlie.
Charles V was
Okay.
Holy Roman Emperor and Archduke of Austria from 1519 to 1556. King of Spain from King of what?
Spain.
Spain from 1516 to 1556, and Lord of the Netherlands as titular Duke of Burgundy. Burgundy is Red House. That's a Moulin Rouge,
Okay.
right? That's the Red House, Burgundy, from 1506 to 1555. Okay. Now go over two pictures to your right. It's going to be a picture of a native. Wait a minute. Go back one. Go back one. Okay. It's another picture like that, but it's just two people on it.
Okay.
Matter of fact, see that picture right there?
Yeah, right here.
Zoom in on that picture. Okay, now look for the cross. Go down into the body of it. See the man with the cross on the right? You just passed him. All the way to the right on that line. Right there.
Okay. Right here. This dude right here. I'm gonna blow it up. Right here.
Remember, we said they look like us, but they ain't us. And here he's called Carlos Quintos.
Yeah.
All right. Now remember, we showed you the George Washington Fez Memorial of the Dirty Moors. Now you're looking at
My
the
bad.
agreements being made with the chiefs to go into a conflict with the cross. It's right here. If you look at the staffs, you got three of them on their right shoulder. What I tell you, Noble Drew
Yeah.
Ali said they came in how?
The left bump, past the bump.
Hostile on the left bump. Now the
Yeah.
first three in this row to the okay, it's five people to the right of King Charles. Notice
Yeah.
what King Charles is doing with his hand.
He pointing to something.
His left hand is pointing to the cross.
That's right.
Right? Now, the first chief is facing me, right?
Yeah.
And he's pointing his staff directly at his face, not at the cross.
Right.
He's saying it's a headshot.
Go ahead.
He's pointing to his head. Now, if you look, do he look pink?
No.
Is that a pale-faced man right there?
No. No.
Now go back to the last picture when we just read who he was. What that face look like?
Pale face.
Okay, now this is Dr. Suzar blacked out through whitewash exposure.
Go ahead.
Because they have to change their faces so they can rewrite the historical narrative. Why? Let's go to the first Dr. John Henry Clark, where he's saying that it was a war on our culture.
Let's see. Pick one of these.
It's gonna say it right on the clip. Soon as it comes through, you'll see if it's the right one.
Okay. Why is it taking so long?
It's just buffering.
Yes, it's the kingdom, Queensland.
Can you hit it?
It's the Queensland.
Yeah, that's not the one. We're gonna use that later.
Can you hear that one? Can you hear it though?
Yeah.
Can you hear it? All right.
Yeah, I can hear it, but you just got to turn it up a little bit louder for the people. But I was able to hear it.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try to do it like this.
So, Brother Rich showed the other day.
Let's do it.
We over this one receipt from Dr. Clark where he was talking about the war on our culture. It's a couple more clips we're gonna show up, but we want to start with that one.
All right, let me see. It's gonna be one of these. Now that one with Bobby
was a war on our culture. It was a war on the culture of all the non-European people of the whole world. And that the most cultured people in the world were told they had no culture and also had no God that was worth worshiping. So the European not only gave you a new psyche, a new mentality, new clothes to wear, a new God to worship, then he didn't have to build jails. His building jails was redundant because he already had you in one.
Is that the end of it?
That slavery was a war on our culture. It was a war on the culture of all the non-European people of the whole world. And that the most cultured people in the world were told they had no culture and also had no God that was worth worshiping. So the European not only gave you a new psyche, a new mentality, new clothes to wear, a new God to worship, then he didn't have to build jails. His building jails was redundant because he already had you in one.
That's it right
Okay. Okay, now, he said he didn't say that the colonization was the war on our psyche.
there. Uh-huh.
Dr. Clark is a wise, what we call a wise old coon,
Yeah, go ahead.
right? So the coon, you got to remember, is a totem animal. You got to remember that when we say this.
Okay, go ahead.
Dr. Clark is telling us that the war on our culture was passed off as our history, beginning with some stuff called slavery,
Go ahead.
right? Now,
Go
notice
ahead.
he said the most cultured people in the whole world was reassigned no culture by Europe.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're talking about the invaders' alternate strategy of warfare. In order for you to really understand what he's saying, you got to understand the importance of history, which is the other clip,
You got
right?
okay, all right.
Yep. So you got one on him telling us about history.
Okay, I got you. Hey, did y'all hear that one pretty good? The one I just played? All right, so we got another one right here. Let's see.
15,000 years, there's a new discovery that's changing what we think we know about how the Americas were settled.
So there's this team at Florida State University that discovered stone tools alongside mastodon bones. That means they found the oldest known site of human life in the southeastern U.S. Consider that. Think about it for just a second. We're joined now by Florida State University Assistant Professor Jesse Holligan. Professor Holligan, good morning to you.
Good morning to you guys.
So put into just layman's waking up Saturday morning, eating my Wheaties terms, what this means, the discovery of these tools.
So these bones and artifacts show that people were in Florida 1,500 years earlier than a lot of people accept the Americas were colonized. And more importantly, a lot of us were taught that the Americas were colonized by some folks coming through an ice-free corridor from Alaska through Canada into North and South America around 13,500 years ago. That's what most high school textbooks say. That ice-free corridor wasn't open until 14,000 years ago. This site is 500 years older than that, and in Florida, which is by any stretch of the imagination, kitty corner across the continent from Alaska. So it means that we really have to re-examine how and when the Americas were colonized.
So this is on its face fascinating, but when I look at the pictures and the images here, it's underwater.
Yes.
Some underwater sinkhole. Is that what we're looking at here?
Yes, it's a sinkhole in the bottom of the Osceola River. The people weren't, however, scuba diving 14,500 years ago. This was a site that would have been an isolated pond about 130 miles from the coast at the time people were here 14,500 years ago, because sea levels were almost 300 feet lower then, and Florida was nearly twice as big.
Okay, so we're just learning of this morning. As a non-archaeologist, I'm excited about this, but tell me, having discovered this, what you felt, what went through your mind when you realized the implications of this discovery.
Oh, it was so exciting. Though, to be fair, we were building on research done by a number of archaeologists in the 80s and 90s who had already done some excavations at the sinkhole. They found a tusk with human-made, they said, cut marks, but it wasn't widely accepted by the archaeological community. So we were actually there to reevaluate their claims. And so finding the stone knife that we discovered really showed that they had been correct. The stone knife, there's absolutely no way that could be made by nature. Whereas some people had proposed that the marks on the cut could have been caused by elephants, and by elephants I mean mastodons stomping around on the tusk later on. And our knife showed that there's no way that wasn't done by people. So it wasn't that we lucked into this layer. We were really building on some previous research. But that being said, I don't think any of us slept the night that we found the biface. Everybody was very, very, very excited, and it's been so rewarding to get to work in that sink and find these things.
Well, I imagine you all were very excited. Assistant professor at University of Florida State University. Let me get that right. Florida State University, because you can't mess those
No,
two
you
up. Can't
cannot.
conflate those.
I know.
Professor Jesse Holligan, thanks so much for sharing the information, the discovery, and the excitement with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Hey, unmute your phone. Unmute your mic, Rod.
Okay, so we want the Dr. Clark video now on the importance of history.
Okay, what that wasn't the right one.
That was good video though, because it showed you that the Americas wasn't populated through the Bering Straits as they told us in the high school textbook.
Go ahead.
Right? Because the time frame of these people in southern Florida clear across the land is entirely older than anybody who was alleged to have come across the Bering Strait.
Go ahead. Cracking heads,
Right?
twisting. Yeah.
So the racial history, they had to repurpose your psyche to support their agenda. This is the Conjure War in the root. Right?
Go ahead.
So the importance of history is to unravel these mysteries. Because history is the story they told us. The mystery is the bubbling up of the facts over time of the truth that erodes the lie.
The judgment of God.
That ain't the right one. That's the Farrakhan one. It's gotta be the next one then. It gotta be this one right here. Oh, that's 3, 4.
It was a wall on our
That's the
culture.
same one you already played.
That's the same one.
On our culture.
Yeah, I already know it was a war right here. Alright, boom. It's only 4 videos. So the next one gotta be it. Your browser. Alright, it's gotta be this one.
Reality, the beginning of something that we can't even possibly understand based on the level.
No, pause that for a minute. We finna go over this since you pulled it up. This is important. This is an intelligence briefing phone call made between 2 people in the military about what's going on behind the scenes. But remember, this was a 5th dimensional galactic chess game.
Yeah.
A 5th dimensional galactic chess game. My number is 7.
Go ahead.
You gotta remember that. Now play the video.
Of our beliefs currently. But when all that information comes flooding out, there's going to be no denying what's true and what's a lie or what's illusion. Basically what we're experiencing right now is 2 master chess players sitting at the board. And one of them looks down at the board and sees that he's in checkmate in 7 moves. And he looks across at his opponent and he knows that his opponent sees it too. So there's no getting out of it. So at this point, the loser can only prolong the game. Both players know the game is over. It's only a matter of time before he does this, and then you're forced to do this, and then he's forced to do this, and eventually checkmate. We, as a race, if we could understand that the game is over, that based on the rules of the game, the bad guys have already lost, the good guys have already won. Yes, there's moves left on the table, but those moves are being forced by the player that is going to win. The only way that checkmate can't happen is if the player that's winning makes a mistake. But from all of the information that I've gathered, all of the information that's been given, all of the information that's been vetted to me, it seems pretty obvious that the good guy player on the side of the chessboard knows exactly what has to be done to win the game. And so at this point, any mistake would be all but impossible. But again, you really have to understand the game to know that the guy that's losing is lost. And I'm sure most people sitting watching a chess match between two advanced chess players know the game's over long after the two players know it's over.
Okay, so the only way to win the game, without no doubt that the game is over, is for the masses to reach critical mass of awareness in what's taking place behind the scenes by watching what's going on in front of our face. That's when we can see the veil is gone. All of their moves is in the public domain. These receipts that I'm pulling up, ain't none of this stuff new. It's always been there, but somebody had to put the mosaic together, put the puzzle together for the people to see that this is a conjure war. Now, I sent you a series of clips on the conjure war. Let's go over them.
I got you.
Because you got to understand that this conjure wars is age-old warfare between priesthoods. Once you understand that this has been going on since the beginning of time, as a matter of fact, time was created by a conjure.
I think we start with this one.
Yep.
What did you say the first one?
I only want to read the last one because I don't think we're going to have time to go through them thoroughly. But these are posted. Go to the first picture of the blood magic so I can show them the cover picture. The other way. You went the wrong way.
This one?
Go back. Keep going. It's right there. If you go on my Instagram page and pull the post up with this cover picture, all of the receipts that we about to go over the last page of, you can read. So these are questions posed to artificial intelligence to see if Rod Hayes know what the hell he's talking about when he said that the Civil War was the conjure war and the George Washington challenge being the root. But this is going to be AI telling us where to look to find more information on conjure wars and if the Civil War had conjure involved. So this is AI answering me. Okay, let's go to the last one of these. I think it's the one where it talk about the Civil War. Before that, let me see. Go back one more. I think that's the one. Nope, that's blood magic. Okay, go back another one. Right there. Blow this one up. See where it say, while conjure magic may not have had a significant impact on the outcome of the Civil War, it did play a role in the lives of many people who lived through that time. For some, it was a source of comfort and hope. For others, it was a way to express their anger and frustration. All right. Now, go back to the page before that. I want to read some, because it says a little bit right here. During the American Civil War, both sides used conjure magic to try to gain an edge. For example, now they give you an example. Some Union soldiers carried mojo bags and wore gree charms to protect themselves from harm. Confederate soldiers also used conjure magic but they often did so in the more secretive way. For example, some Confederate soldiers would bury conjure powders in the ground in front of Union camps in an attempt to curse their enemies. Okay, now, this is two distinct sides of the war using the conjure in the field,
Right.
right? So when you go up, those are the books at the top of the other side. Diaspora, African Root Magic in American Culture. Um, those are all of them. But then we go into the blood magic. This is a part where Crispus Attucks' blood is the written constitution in the George Washington Masonic Memorial. That's where they used to keep it. But they also have a replica that they use when they travel, take it around and show it to other lodges.
Okay.
It's called a facsimile, right?
Okay.
And through this blood magic is what kept us in the stupor about our history, because they put a damper on the tongue where the only way we could get it out is in a song.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So before we was singing in the mainstream, we was singing in the fields, telling the stories. And this is why, our people always say that we told stories in our gospel songs. Mm-hmm. They think we talking church talk, but we knew something different.
Go ahead.
Right? So blood magic is a form of magic that uses blood as a source of power. Right? Now, if you go to that blue and red picture, those are the biblical scriptures tied to the blood magic. That was a picture of the Constitution you just passed. Right? That's what it looked like, written in the blood. Right? Because it turns rusty brown when it dries out.
Yeah, then they kill a guy and the write is in his blood.
Crispus Attucks. Go to the next slide. See his right here?
Yeah.
It says not much is known about Attucks, but most historians agree he was of mixed blood of African and Native American descent. In other words, he was one of us.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Okay, now, this is the biblical verse, Matthew 26:28. What do this say? For this is my blood of the covenant. But covenant means contract.
That's
People
right.
get out of this whole covenant mean contract. The
That's
contract is the Constitution, which is being poured out for many for forgiveness of sins. The sin is the sin rights, which is the Babylonian blood magic, Babylonian money magic, Babylonian sex magic. Forgive means to give favor to.
Go ahead.
Those acts by the blood covenant. This all in a biblical contract. Go to the next slide.
Go ahead. Get him, bro.
This is math. These is the blood contract biblical links. Because we're going to go to Google in a minute and I'm going to have you pull up a picture of Pelosi and Trump. But Matthew 23:35, right? That's 68. That's my birth year. And so upon you will come all the righteous blood shed on earth. Shall I say that again, Elder?
Go ahead.
And so up on you will come all the righteous blood shed on earth. From the blood of the righteous Abel, which means worker, to the blood of Zechariah, son of Brachian, who you murdered between the temple and the altar. That is the homicide that we know as Crispus Attucks getting shot. Right there. Right? These is all they call. I'm just telling y'all what they saying. And then I'm showing you where I'm getting it from. Okay, now, lamentations, what do that mean? Lamentation is a cry, it's a plea, right? So this is somebody who's crying about something, right? It say, but this was for the sins of her prophets and the guilt of her priests, who shed the blood of the righteous in her midst. And what do they call America gender-wise?
Her, the woman, the Babylon, the whore, the great whore.
Right.
Yeah.
So when they talking about who shed the blood of the righteous in the midst of her, that means that some sisters seen what was going on.
Go ahead. You on something, Roy. Go ahead.
Right? So when you understand how the blood magic worked, then you understand why they wrote the Constitution in Crispus Attucus' blood, so nobody won't be able to contest it. Now, if you go back to, I sent you a clip, Article 77 of the Iroquois Constitution. That was toward the last receipts I sent you.
Okay, all right.
Oh, stop. That was important. This was the first one to identify the source of the attack on our psyche, Carter G. Woodson. Right? He famous for a lot of things, but telling us the mechanism by which they controlling us ain't one of them until today.
Go ahead.
Carter G. Woodson wrote in The Miseducation of the Negro, that's where you find this paragraph at that he's writing in the book called The Miseducation of the Negro. This is to unlock your mind. He say, when you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him not to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and will stay in it.
Wow.
You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his civic benefit. His education makes it necessary.
Wow.
This how voodoo works. This is the real voodoo. See, when you balance out the earth nature of the individual, the earth will guide you to where to find all of these little pieces and show people what you're talking about. Right? Let's go on to the one we was on our way to.
Yeah, you killing the game, bro. You saying a lot. All right. You said a clip. Which one you wanted, Rod?
It was one of the last ones I sent you.
Okay, all right. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back. All right. This is.
Yes, it's the kingdom, but it's the Queen's land
That's a good time to play this.
because of the matriarchy.
Hell, you can't hear, right?
Because the
Turn up something if you can, Elder.
All right, I had to do it like this right here to play it. Let me play it like this. I had to play it like this through video.
Ain't that it highlighted?
Yeah, that might be it highlighted. Let me try to. I had to do it like this though. Put it as a video file so it can play on the screen.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Like this, yeah. Man, you saying a lot, Rod. You saying a whole lot right here, man.
It's voodoo, man. It's voodoo.
It's
voodoo. That's all it is. Yeah.
The beginning of something that
It's,
we can't even possibly understand.
Hold on, it's not that. It's got to be the other one. They said that's the only videos, though. Hold up. I know I ain't played all the videos.
Because it's some of them ain't come up. I sent you 2 more Dr. Clark videos.
Yeah, you sent me the 2 Dr. Clarks. Both of them were the same thing. You sent me the same thing twice.
I sent you 3 of them all together.
It was a wall on our culture.
All right, hold on. Let me go back to this photo. Yeah, I might have to play it like this because it ain't pulling up all the videos. Hold up. Man, they rolled in that dude blood, man. They shot him, then did it right on his man. These people sick, man. They don't get no
They
sicker than that.
everything they
You know
do,
what I'm saying?
they left us the clues. We just had to learn what the secret societies do. And this is why Noble Drew Ali had to put their secrets in the open. Who else put their secrets in the open?
Right?
Do you remember? Aleister Crowley.
Yeah, Aleister Crowley. They ran them up out of they ran them up out of there too.
An end of this reality.
Okay, let's one this way.
That slavery.
Let's start the call.
America is
That's him.
Hidden for nearly 50.
That's it.
Yes, it's the kingdom, but it's the queen's land. It's the queen's land because of the matriarchy. The matriarchy because of the mitochondria to the land. Queen is the most powerful piece on the chessboard. You're not rocking with her, you must be playing checkers. Peace, love, and light.
Okay, all right. That brother spoke his piece.
Let him hear Farrakhan. Because he already told him.
America is facing the judgment of God as we sit around this table. Look at the weather. Look at the world turning down on her. America is bankrupt. $13 trillion in debt. And if you figure Medicare and Medicaid, she's over $60 trillion in debt. She can never pay it. That's why she voted for $650 billion in armament, because she can't pay the debt. But she can bully those whom she is in debt to with fear over her military prowess.
Wow. Wow.
So our judgment mean is to make a decision.
Uh-huh.
So Elijah Muhammad already told us America was about to fall.
Yep. The fall of America.
And then Baba already told us we had 30 years from 1970 to get ready for what was coming. Right? So in 2000, they take Baba off the scene. So now we had to readjust all of the pieces on the board. The lead pieces now have to fall to the back. So now you got to let what's called your second rank advance across the lines. Your second rank on the fifth dimensional chessboard is your flying kings that came from the checkerboard on the patriarchal agenda and landed on the chessboard to try to conquer a matriarchal domain. So you capture the flying kings. All that means is the ones that be flying around in airplanes in the public like they really running something, right? They just checker pieces on the chessboard. That's your politicians, your flying kings, the ones that go around and pretend to be delegates on the behalf of a secret society. Acting like they the royal families, but all the time, they just flying kings on the chessboard. They in the wrong domain. So now, with all of the flying kings from the checkerboard, the red and the black checkerboard, Scottish Rite 32-degree Freemasons, land on the black and white chessboard, they in the domain of the queens. Right? This how their game is played. I'm just telling y'all how it's played. In the domain of the queens, when the flying kings, what we call them aliens and we call them Anunnakis and all that shit, it's a game.
Go ahead.
It's a game for the mind. Remember Dr. Clark said, It was a war on our culture by giving us artificial minds, making us believe something about ourselves that was collectively untrue. This is the game. So all of the secret societies, mama's boys, y'all call them Masons. But they the mama's boys to the queens. All of the queens got one son that they picked that to defend the family against spiritual and physical threats.
Go ahead.
I'm the worst of mama's boys. I'm number 7, and they call me last. I came in on 10. That's November the 10th.
Go ahead.
Initiated 10 toes down at birth. Right? On a 45 on a 10-15 time slot.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right? Given the time share or the queen's share of the pie on the upright, because 1 through 9 had to be exhausted before I can get my chance to turn the clock. Right? So when everything turn around, people becomes aware of the games being played. Right? They catch on to the illusion that's being played. The flying kings from the checkerboard, the fake kings, became the cat's paw for the opposing team on the chessboard in the Queensland on the black and white.
Go ahead.
The black and white is the protectorate degree of the shrine, your Scottish rite, in all Red House activities. The shrine is the shrine that the Black Madonna is seated in on the Red House. But you can't see her through the Red House unless you're looking from the Blue House. Otherwise, you seeing mirrors.
That's right.
So you have to rescue the queen, right, from the minaret. Remember how they always got the queen in the tower, right?
Go ahead.
The tower is the rook on the chessboard.
Go ahead.
This is your El Rookin, your Black Peace Stone Nation. So now it goes to, okay, if this is on the Blood House, right? If this is true, that means that Angel Bay, Jeff Ford, if it's true, he's going to send a bishop.
That's right.
He's going to send a bishop out west because he can move at an angle. The angle is to organize Peru, the Blood Nation, right? To give them a structure for redeeming our land from the enemy when the time comes. It's called an OG call on the West Coast, but we use literature in the Midwest, right? So who would be the bishop? We know him as T. Rogers.
Go ahead.
Right? So the bishop went out on a T. In masonry, that's called a T square. That's a unit of measure. Right? And the T crossed the top of the I. Right? And TI take us back to ATL. Now we talking about the historical perspective. Why ATL?
Wow.
Right? ATL is Atlanta.
Yeah.
This is where they begin establishing the Dawes role, switching us out.
Go ahead.
They're shifting the pieces on the chessboard because they gonna block all of the institutions with pale faces.
Go ahead.
But pale faces got mama's boys too.
Go ahead.
Right? So what mama say? I'm gonna talk to the pale face sister over there to send some of the mama boys to go inside where you can't go and put the secret out in the open.
Go ahead.
Right? So Aleister Crowley, the wickedest man in the world, right? That's what he famed himself, the great beast. Left hand path magic, Red Lodge, Freemasonry. He said, I went in there and got all of this knowledge so I can come out and put it in the streets. Franz Bardone, initiation in the Hermetics, right? Hermetic rites, teaching the mystic how to be a mystic in written format.
Hey, keep going.
Blue House Knock, right hand magic. So Franz Bardone and Aleister Crowley met and they didn't want to meet again. That's two men shaking and going their separate ways, separating red from blue. All of these things are structured for us to remain in perpetual ignorance if we don't never figure out that the games they play. And Felipe Wins sang the song, Games People Play, right? So if you don't know the game, and the game is the game of life, that's a street knock. And if you're knocking up and down the street, you must be a concrete gorilla because you're rocking in the concrete jungle.
Right.
So these gorillas start knocking the ground, we start bouncing off these skyscrapers. And we make a very peculiar sound as we knock around. Pillar to post, we go. We gonna get these mothers out one way or another.
Go ahead.
It's a game of awareness of self and your identity to where you belong on the land. The secret is if you put your palms to the earth and your forehead and your knees and you ask Mother Earth where you belong, you're gonna unmistakably know if you from this land or not. And if you ain't from Earth, she might cut you off anyway, so it ain't gonna matter. The whole script, narrative, all of this technology is ancient. Just nothing new under the sun. We've done this before. Every close of the age, we do the same cleanup from a different system. Whatever didn't work, we cast that off. We keep what worked, and we let the society run in the error until you get to the point where you can take all of the errors out. That's what you call moving into a golden age.
Hey, somebody asked.
Right.
Go ahead. Say all the 33-degree Masons good, or how did that connect with the what we talking about now?
Look,
all conjure. Go
listen,
ahead. It's all
listen,
conjure.
listen to the bad. It's a game of universal good cop, bad cop. It's a game of universal who right, who wrong. In the God mind, if there's a possibility of anything, it's a certainty of everything. Right? If you can conceive it in your psyche, it's going to play out in the reality, or else it's not possible to exist. It just might not play out in the manner you see it.
Right. To me, 33 degrees is like it's really all a scrum. It's really we're dealing with Big Mama's calendar about the degrees when the sun coming in Tropicana, when the sun coming in springtime. It's really dealing with it's really like doggone teachings.
Hey, I'm finna send you this again.
It's gonna be hard for me to slide it to this computer because I'm on my other computer where I had to slide it to that computer, then slide it to the hard drive. So, but I ain't in that room. I'm in the back room because I'm gonna reset my office up to this back room, but I had did it yet. So I'm gonna have it done tomorrow, so I can be able to do everything. Hey, bro, you cut out.
I'm here.
Oh yeah. So like, if you send me something now, I won't be able to slide it to this laptop right here. I only have to slide it to my other laptop, then put it on my this hard drive right here. Then slide it to this.
Okay, we ain't gonna worry about it. So,
about an hour. You want to take about 30 or 40 minutes worth of questions? Because we got a lot of
Yeah,
people
we could
asking.
we can go to Q&A.
All right, because we got a lot of people on here asking a lot of questions. Hey, if you got some questions for the brother Rod concerning the topic. Okay, somebody asked. I think he talked about that already. Is California going to flood? What about the different safe zones, Rod?
Look, it's floods happening in California already. Vegas
Mm-hmm.
or Nevada, I should say. This because of the changing in the flow when the water when the pole center reverse polarity, it's gonna have to have an effect on land, air, and water.
Facts.
We're gonna see the effect on the meters by reading Schumann resonance, watching the changes in the frequency, because these are notes, musical notes coming from the center of the earth that's being read by machines that man made to read them.
Yeah, seismograph,
Right,
whatever. Yeah.
right. So they can show you what the Schumann resonance is doing. And if you're watching what how it's responding to the solar rays, then
Exactly.
that unlocks to you the connection of heaven to earth. The sun representing the crown chakra, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the crown chakra talk to the heart chakra represented by the earth. And it's the heart and mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the balance between intelligence and creativity. Right, and it's the ability to be able to assimilate masculine and feminine understanding of the mechanics of life, right? So we're gonna see flood zones, but Mother Earth gonna tell you to move if it's time to move. Watch the
Yeah, watch
animals.
the birds. Watch the birds.
I've been telling people this for ever since I've been doing this. Watch the animals.
Facts.
When they say get gone, get the fuck gone. Cause they not gonna stay where the disaster gonna be, and they gonna understand what Mama Earth said before you ever figure out she said something.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, Rod. That's true.
Pay attention to the animals. They gonna tell you. Man setting fires in warfare right now. And it serves another purpose of giving the alternative explanation for the red iron oxide that's going to be permeating the atmosphere more and more on the next upcoming months or so.
Man,
More
I've been
cities,
watching.
yeah,
Man,
more
like
cities gonna be reporting that dust on their cars and all that stuff. They're gonna be putting it on social media. Y'all gonna see it,
that's right.
right?
And
Now,
like Hawaii always burnt to the ground. Hawaii,
yeah,
man, man, direct
some
energy.
people think it's the rust from the dome cracking open. They say it's rusty shut, it been closed so long.
Oh man, these niggas is crazy. That shit make
But
my head hurt. Thinking niggas
look,
thinking like,
hey,
God
whatever
damn.
happened, whatever happened, I know I'm reading this.
Dust from the dome. What them niggas said, bro? What the fuck? Oh shit, man. Niggas is getting dumber and dumber. Niggas get dumber and dumber.
Look,
I
I
can
don't
say,
have no.
yeah, right. Go ahead.
Look,
I got a
every,
lot of questions.
every concept of what the earth is true and not true at the same time.
Yeah, so like
We
I ain't gonna
we
say,
look,
yeah,
we in perpetual creation by mutual agreement by coming to a synthesis at the same time.
yeah,
When the mind is split, we have a Mandela effect.
go ahead.
But when it comes back together, then the Mandela effect comes into a new reality. It merges two timelines together to bring unity between cosmic forces. It's a conceptual physics formula scattered out in story format in fairy tales and mystery stories, legends of old, right? Because what's in your subconscious comes from the superconscious, which goes is filtered through the earth consciousness itself.
Somebody asked what's going. Okay. Somebody asked what's going. Hey, before you answer this question though, my next thing because hey, how long? Because Bible said 2030. This will be. He said that we'll go through these 7 years before 2030, where they're being ripped out, and it's just like you're saying right now. They storing fires. They doing all this stuff to make it chaotic on the land. So we got how long do you think we got of this chaos? Like, and you like I heard you say earlier that we're gonna need to. It's gonna be you say in between a week to 6 months. I think you said or 90 days that we had to have some
That's the
quiet.
blackout.
Okay, the blackout.
The,
So
the
and do
blackout
you
can be anywhere from
okay? Go ahead. Go ahead.
right. It could be anywhere from the blackout can be anywhere from 30 minutes to 90 days.
Okay.
Right. The cease movement can be a cease movement for anywhere for a couple of hours to 90 days.
Where they block the interstates and shit.
Yeah, right. Now, what was a catalyst in the forest fires is if a caravan of deep state actors hit a highway, they can shut them all down.
Wow.
So you remember, they got private armies in the woods on private campgrounds or
That's right.
private, I should say, ranching grounds,
The cartel.
and they got little villages carved out in the middle of the woods. So they be burning the village out, but if they happen to escape and hit an interstate, they'll shut all of the interstates down so you won't know which interstate they using where they fighting that war.
Mm.
This it's basic understanding of military protocol will show you an idea of what kind of catalyst would cause them to shut down the freeways in continuity of government status. The only thing that would cause them to have to shut the freeways down is if they know that a whole army of these motherfuckers didn't escape and they gotta shut a freeway down, but so they don't know that they know exactly where they at, they'll shut them all down, and that'll keep us wondering what the hell going on.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
But they over there blowing up shit, tearing up shit, setting shit on fire, and reporting it to us later on as a forest fire. It was a bad fire in Idaho, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, or in Canada, it was a big old wildfire just bust out. No, they set those fires for a reason.
Yeah.
Remember, I'm gonna give you a reference about them using fire to clear the forest embankments.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back to the Vietnam War, they was using Agent Orange and napalm clearing the forest for the soldiers to be able to get in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same thing they doing now.
Yeah.
But now they done got it where they can burn small patches and trap you in the middle of it.
Mm.
See, they done got surgical with it because they can use laser beam precision with fires.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's right. They did the
Direct
same
energy.
thing during the Seminole Wars. The Seminole Wars, they burned all them trees down, like you was talking about in Florida, all the big trees we had. They burned them down and they like surrounded them with a fire to get them in one little closed area so they could come down on them.
Now remember, we used to walk treetops if we wanted to from Louisiana to Florida.
That's right. That's right.
Now remember in early colonial America, the big deal was being what? A lumberjack.
That's right.
Right? So the lumberjacks is the ones who continued to clear the land in the ceasefire period of the contract.
Uh-huh.
They still don't. They still. So now you can drive long stretches between Arkansas, Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi to Louisiana and see patches of open area that wasn't there
Right.
before.
That's right.
Right? They use them to build they disposable houses. We didn't build disposable houses. This shit they building calling houses now, none of our craftsmen that's native to our culture would agree with it.
Go ahead.
That's not how we built. Quality was more important. Quality was we wanted to build a castle, so we used stone so that mug would stand up for a long time.
Right. That's right.
Right? This dog that's a cultural phenomenon. Pyramids is a
It's not
cultural
true.
Yeah, pyramids is a cultural phenomenon. There's only one culture in the history of the world that ever did built pyramids,
Go ahead.
right? Because the people that y'all calling Kemet, your dynasties of Egypt, they just came and strolled over some ruins of the shit we left behind,
Go ahead.
right? So they cleaned up a little bit of sand from around them and set up their empires. Right? Reenactment of historical events that took place there by looking at the hieroglyphic depictions telling you the stories.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right?
This
So you was asking about a time frame.
yeah.
I can't give you a time frame. I can give you a reference. Can you
Go
pull
ahead.
up Google?
Yeah, I can think I can. Go ahead. I think I can pull up Google. Let's see. Man, this is more than damn T. This shit, body. Okay, where I'm going, Google. Yeah, I noticed we use clay. We had a lot of clay dirt over here, so we use like a lot of clay dirt to make our bricks and shit out of here. Like especially over like on this.
Look, those from Mississippi know what I'm talking about when I say is we used to eat the clay dirt.
Yeah, right. My mama and them eat it. I'm telling you, they used to eat that clay dirt.
Yeah. Because it was so nutrient dense and it was compatible to our system, and it's a cultural phenomenon to us from the South. That's why I
My
say
mama said that the doctor, well, this is what the doctor said, that when they eat that clay dirt, it means their iron is low. They got a lot of iron in that clay dirt. That's what they were saying.
they got a lot of nutrition, not just iron.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm on Google.
Type in Trump announce year-long celebration. Now remember I told y'all when it's over with, we have a Mardi Gras from coast to coast. Right? You remember saying that?
Yeah.
Go to videos. Right there.
250 year.
Yep. So this will give you, before this can happen, all this BS has to be. We're going to see how to be fit before this can take place. And this is going to give you a time frame. And you can do political commentary. You got to take the mute off.
Can you hear it?
You got to take the mute off of it. It's on mute.
Yeah, mute is off. See, now for you to hear the video on, like I had to have it downloaded on here. You had to have it downloaded to hear the video. So all the videos we played, I already had them downloaded.
You can read what it say. Look, we can read what it say.
All right, go ahead.
Entire year of festivities across nations starting on Memorial Day 2025 and continuing through July the 4th, 2026. Then you're going to announce the World Fair, the Great American State Fair, unique one-year exhibit featuring from all 50 states. That's where they release all of the technology at. Did you see it, Elder?
Yep. You can you hear me?
So, yeah, now, so you can stop it.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah,
y'all
man.
know what
It's
to
a lot
look
of.
up if y'all can hear. Look, so they know what to look up on that Trump video. So before that can take place, this stuff got to be cleaned up thoroughly.
Wow.
Got to be over with. That can't happen
425. So we got like a
until
couple, like 2 more years to this.
no, it got to be already done before that,
Okay.
right? They got to get ready for it. If you're gonna have a year long national celebration and dignitaries coming in from around the world on a large scale, you have to prepare. Infrastructure need to be in place.
That's right. Yes.
Even if we were under the current conditions, if it was to drag out like it is now, it wouldn't be a functional enough system to sustain the support of having that type of event take place on the land.
Right. Right.
So by the time that get done, everything got to be a wrap. Because the
2025.
infrastructure got to be put in place to facilitate something like that. Right? You need to reorganize security forces. You know, you got to make,
Trump had to be president.
yeah. It ain't gonna be no president.
Yeah. Oh, I ain't gonna be no president.
Not like it is now. This is a wrap.
All
Hey, this is. I want you to type in Google
right. Go ahead.
Iroquois Constitution, Article 77.
Hold on, just a, I got you.
Or Section 77, I think it is.
You see it?
Go to the second one.
Damn.
So if you can't get into it, don't worry about it. But this is look it up to see if they got it under images. It might be under images already.
Yeah.
Put Article 77 or put Section
Yeah,
77 behind it.
yeah. That's what that's what I was missing. 77. All right.
No, it's not showing up.
Yeah, but what is it was about the treaty, the treaty we got made to end the conjuring.
Yep, to end the to sever the contract.
Right here, look at
You-
this.
So you obviously read it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember you going over there before. I remember you going over this before on I want to
We went
say
over some of the Iroquois Constitution before. We
yeah,
went over the Indigenous Rights Act of the UN and the United States,
yeah.
right? We went over. Oh, this is what I want you to type in because this is the end of the Bible conjure. Type in Pelosi rips Bible. There
There you go right here.
It's actually a video of her ripping the Bible. That was the conclusion from the political side from the Bible conjure.
Says he ripped the president's. Let's see here.
So, what's her position? You remember her position?
She's a Speaker of the House, ain't it?
Yeah. Now, who is the Speaker of the House in relation to the people? She
Go
is the
ahead.
president. The Speaker of the House is the president of Congress, the leader of the congressional delegation, right? Those are supposed to be duly elected officials. Now, remember, they just said over 60% of them was never sworn in under the Constitution. Why is that? How is that possible? Right? Because this is showing you that the illusion of legitimacy breaks down when you really start to investigate it. Take out Pelosi and put Trump flips Bible. This happened on the same day, by the way, or in the
Yeah,
same week for sure.
Trump did it in front of that church
Mm-hmm.
right here.
Yep. That was the conclusion of the biblical contract on the blue house. See, you got the blue tie on?
Yep. He don't really wear a blue tie. He really wear a wig most of the time.
Depending on who he talking to or who he
Yeah,
talking for.
right. Or like Dick Gregory said, it's one with the blue tie and one with a red tie. It's two
So
truckers.
this is also an image icon from a voodoo painting signifying what to look for.
Go ahead.
If you look at this, look at him holding the Bible. It's a picture of the Baron holding the Bible down, telling him to flip the contract. That's the contract in.
Because why would they just take a picture of him holding that Bible like that if that didn't mean nothing? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That got to be some. Because like I say, I know these fools how they be doing alchemy and how they be doing a lot of shit that they hoping that over our head that they hoping that we still asleep on this shit. But niggas like
Exactly.
Rod Hayes always come out and point them niggas out, right? They weren't expecting that. I'm telling you, they weren't expecting that shit, man. They weren't expecting no little nigga to come along and say, "Look at this nigga how he holding that Bible." Yeah, nigga.
Yeah, but
Big baby,
that's
man.
okay. So let's just say he was on and decided to flick up.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What's the odds of Pelosi ripping the Bible up on the same day, theatrically saying? I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, you just putting the logic, like putting it together, like two and two together.
Yep.
1 + 1 is 2, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, now the irony is before this, they already gave a 400-year commemoration, which was the duration of time the Bible gave to hold the children hostage.
That church is like it's boarded up too.
Look, type in Senate announced 400 years. I think it's Senate, SEN. They passed this as a law in 2017. It might have been 2019, but it was to recognize 400 years of captivity in Babylon, so to speak. This, in America. African Americans. You might have to go to all or go to video because it actually is a video. I did know the bill. I forgot the name. I forgot the number of the bill.
Oh, I got it.
For the person that asked what was going on with Mercury while he doing that, I haven't been watching the astral events. I've been reading them through Earth events. So I can't. I'm not right now stayed up on that one to give you a competent answer.
All right, hold up. Here I go, Rob. Hold up. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Hold up. Shit, what the hell? All right, there we go. Hold up. There. That's it typing. Hold on, my computer still speaking. There you go.
It come from chilling juice on your keyboards, boy.
Nah, my son be having candy and sticky fingers, so or it might be a seed or something. You
Hey,
said
look.
what was that? What did you say? Selling announced what now?
Senate recognized 400 years African American.
They go with the African American shit.
Yeah. But they really pointing out a Bible narrative. Try videos.
All right. Right here.
Yep.
Which one? This is the bottom one.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Try to wait a minute. Scroll down.
All right. Trump speak on 400-year anniversary of Jamestown. Black history. Government. I think it might be this one right here. That one right there. 400 years of.
That gotta be it.
All right. Let me try to throw that one up there. Boom. African American history. Oh yeah, this was that governor they got on her behind, didn't it? About this.
No, this ain't the one. It's an actual bill being passed on the Senate floor. Um,
Maybe I go to
Change the word announce to recognize.
uh
REC.
oh shit, hold on, my bandana shit is sticking again.
Yep, that's it. 400 years.
Damn, man.
There you go. First one.
Yeah, it's even the same shit as this right here, the American African Act shit, whatever.
See if it tell you the bill.
Why the 400 Years of African History Act is so. Yeah, this might be it right here. The bill recognize arrival influence African American. Why they still selling us this African American shit though?
That's Jesse Jackson. Kick
See,
his
it's
old ass
hard.
down the stairs in his wheelchair.
Hey, y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Like I say, my brother Raw don't do it for
But
no
look,
money.
they
Go
did
ahead,
a
go ahead.
recognition. Put 2019 in the back of that. See if that'll change. That's what is called the Commission Act. Go back up to the top. Click on the search bar again.
Hold on. Hey, close this door for me.
Yeah, it came up. There was a Commission Act, the 400-year African American History Commission Act or something. When you put the 2019 in, it dropped down in the drop box.
The night missing. I knew it was something happened. Oh, there you go, right there. Okay, what you said? You seen Rod? Right here. This shit right here, right?
No, that's not it. That's a news report. It's an actual Senate hearing. Man, that some bitch ain't coming up. African American.
Yeah, see if that come up. I think just talking about it, but it ain't exactly what we need. Uh, man, I feel like I need my damn glasses. So this shit blurred to me. Yeah, Roy. We'll get with it. We'll see what's going on. Yeah, I looked on there, man. Uh, we going over time because I really supposed to been off at in an hour and 30. But we could take some more questions though, and then we can get up out of here, bro. Yeah, but
Let's do like 3 more questions and wrap it up.
yeah, Raw, as always, you always got that heat, that new heat that nobody think about. A lot of that shit might went over niggas' heads though. Why you
The
think?
ones who supposed to get it gonna get it.
DNA is six, 69 Master 33. 69, 3 and 3. Raw the code with them numbers flipping though. I'm telling you.
33 mean master, 69 mean balance.
So there you have it. Our DNA is circular, the balance master 33. To me, they use that 33 degrees shit. It's all dealing with like to me it's like the sun, the motion of the sun, you know. The see the big
No,
mo-
it's segmentation of knowledge. It's a,
you know,
it's a, it's 3 parts. It's a big pie,
I
and the
want
pie
to
cut in the 3 parts. 33 and the third gives a whole part to each person.
yeah, that's right, to three people out of 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in reference to the what the Dogons taught about the zodiac information. The zodiac 33 degrees Tropicana, like you know, at the Tropicana, then you got the equator, and then you got the that's the other one, cart like it's Capricorn.
Meridian.
Yeah, so when that line is at 33 degrees, and that's what they was talking about when they said Jesus died on the cross. He come back and rise from the dead. It's all dealing with Dogon esoteric teachings. The 33 degrees, like all their degrees, really. But like I say, like I believe it's what you said too, because it's more to. It's always a bigger perspective that you could take in on all of it. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
So
you got to remember, all of this shit is controlled opposition.
yeah,
Everything we see, the have and the have-nots is to pit us against us by class, right?
mm-hmm.
The geek community and the regular community is to separate us by intelligence,
Okay,
right? Isolate people from each other, and you can keep the unity of the people from ever requiring to be free and at peace. But when the people become a unified voice for peace, harmony, and prosperity, and they don't accept the status quo, then they have to come out with a new system to appease the people,
that's right. That's right.
right? They're not going to make everybody happy, but they can give you enough to keep you from rebelling.
So they
This is all
pacify.
part, right? So when you go back and you look, ancient code of kings comes from the Babylonian kings because they was the first kings to ever declare themselves kings in the queendom. So they created the Valley of the Kings, but all throughout the Valley of the Kings, all of the kings are singing odes or poetic songs to the queens. So the Valley of the Kings is actually the Valley of the echo of the king's love for the queen.
Go ahead.
Right? So you got the pylons and the pillars in order to carry the echo because it creates a separation in the sound wave that measures the pace like a music instrument.
Go ahead. You crack it.
Just like you got all them long columns and rows, right? You got to remember, we used to have booming voices. We all squeaky now.
Yeah, right. Go ahead, Rod. Talk about it.
The average guy used to talk like Barry White or like Michael Clark Duncan. Now we talk damn near like Little Richard.
Like, look, squeaky, bro. You got the squeaky shit now.
Right. That's because we changed from the diaphragm and we went to the nasal.
Go ahead.
Right. So now we not breathing from the core, we breathing from the surface. And when you're not breathing deep enough, you can't think deep because you don't have enough oxygen. And then your brain's going to regulate itself to use as much of the possible oxygen as it can in order to facilitate your thought, but he ain't going to kill himself to get it done.
Go ahead.
Right? So when we learn back to go back to breathing from the diaphragm, our voices is going to adjust. And this might sound slightly vulgar, but our nuts going to drop. When we start exercising our throat chakra with it, the people going to feel it. And when they feel it, it's going to help them see it. We talking the light code. And the light code is the code that reaches the codon on the DNA. Because it's all activated memory, all you got to do is remember that Earth will tell you where you belong. Put your hands on the ground and talk to her. She'll talk back to you by dreams and by visions.
Right.
And some shit you just gonna automatically know because you already know it. You just wasn't ready to accept it yet. Once we all start tapping back in the earth start fighting for us. That's when you get Atlas Shrugged. And that's why the importance of these sisters being healed is so high, because they are the current carriers to the love frequency of Earth that resonate through the mitochondrial that drives the men to clean up the land. I'm just saying.
You said a mouthful, man. Tell me.
There's a kingdom come on the Queen's land, right? Because them flying kings jumped off their goddamn checkerboard. They didn't know they was jumping out the frying pan into the fire, right? They said them country boys ain't know what they was doing because they couldn't play this knockaround game the same, because all we know about is motherfucking milking cows and baling hay. So they sent one of us country boys to the city to get a good education.
Yeah, good education. I like that.
So
Hey,
they
man.
tapped me.
Hey, man, this right here the last question, man. And I know people wanted to know about this. Rashard Jamal, man. They gave him his time or whatever. How much time did they give him?
They gave him 16 years.
16 years. Now you said you was telling me something on the phone about this is a rerun or replay of a certain guy. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a reenactment of the captivity of Toussaint Louverture in custody of the French. He just playing it all backwards to reverse the conjure, but it's still gonna have the same result. They still not gonna be able to hold him, but they playing the conjure out in reverse.
Go ahead.
Right? And you gotta remember who settled or who invaded what parts of our land, and then it'll make a little more sense. Because the French came behind the Spaniards to try to settle the Louisiana territory. And we fought them tooth and nail to a stalemate at the port of New Orleans, where they signed the protectorate agreement for the Louisiana territory, which they would end up selling to the English. And Andrew Jackson will use that as the pretext to transfer us over by classification as slaves, Negroes, blacks, coloreds, and free black men in law. All that was codes to take and usurp us from the land.
Wow. That's a lot. That's what I was saying, man. Like they did a lot of shit. It took this wasn't no overnight shit, man. They took a long time to get us to where they got us now. This was a long shot.
You gotta remember, we went from fighting them tooth and nail, blood, guts, and gore in the Gullah Wars, in the wars in South America, bloody wars on the islands. This wasn't no cakewalk. But what happened that made us all stop fighting? Then you get to the Conjure War. Because otherwise, we have no reason to ever stop fighting them because they still here.
One when you made me go study that Seminole War, they said in part of it that we was killing that they were killing our kids and we were killing their kids. And at one point, we just said, you know what, the kids really ain't got nothing. Like so we just calmed it
You know,
down.
they
Go
they
ahead.
was they was killing our. They was used. Okay, so we had a branch of Sobek priest over here who used to ride through the swamp and on fucking 30-foot alligator backs. The
Yeah.
alligator was like his personal raft, his dog, and he could attack people for him.
Go ahead.
Right now, we in the swamps in the bayous of Louisiana, all the way down into Florida.
Uh huh.
These priests. So what ended up happening in the wars is they begin to kill us. We kill them. Bodies left in the water, but they would only eat the body of the enemies because they knew their own clan. So they start kidnapping our babies in the raids, and this is where you get your term um, um, gator bait.
Go ahead.
They
I
start
remember this.
using our babies to agitate the alligators in the South to make them attack our blood. Before they had no reason to do anything to us because we were symbiotic to the alligators. But when the invaders came, they was hostile to us and the alligators, and it's a case of divide and conquer at that point.
Man, you just said some heavy duty stuff, man, about that alligator thing. Cause I heard something like that before. I heard that like the alligators didn't mess with us, and then when they started feeding the babies, that's when the alligators got confused and said, "We don't know who the fuck we."
Anybody come down here and biting your ass. But see, you got to remember, at the same time they using our babies for gator bait, they killing the biggest, oldest gators that was passing on the energy secrets to the younger gators that kept them in line. It was the same in Africa in that forest preserve where all of the young bull elephants didn't have any of the old bucks to tell them,
Uh-huh.
right? So they was doing that to the alligators because the Sobek priests could talk to real old alligators telepathically easy because the gator had become so mentally strong, his telepathy was almost instant.
Yeah, they some of the oldest creatures in the world. Them and the
Yeah,
hippopotamus.
right. So the Sobek priests, you can look them up now. You can go to
Yeah,
YouTube.
Serbeck was
Anybody want to
Roz
listen?
Serbeck is Roz's brother. He
That's
had the
the
alligator
crocodile
trade.
guy.
Yeah, yeah,
Look,
yeah.
that's the crocodile guy. But look, go to YouTube and type in African tribe lives with alligator with crocodiles. This is a different clan of Sobek priests. That's like denominational, like Presbyterian and Baptist. They just on different land masses, but their religion is the same. They crocodile priests. If you want the history, look up Sobek, study the history of Sobek, and then you will know why they was the crocodile and the alligator, crocodilians of all kind, is sacred to the Sobek priests. These is the
Yeah.
brothers we see today that like to wear alligator shoes in the hood.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm with you.
They already got a strong affection for the alligator. They tribally tied to the totem animal, the crocodile and the alligator. Sobek priests.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. They said that that's what that Native American said. He said, "Man, the crocodiles didn't attack us before they had another name for the white man. They called him something else, but he said that they didn't attack us before these people came." And he
Mm-hmm.
said He even said there wasn't no squirrels over here. It wasn't no squirrels till the Europeans came. No squirrels. I was like, damn, there wasn't no squirrels over here in America.
I know that during the arrival of the immigrants, they brought in what was called the Norwegian wood rat that mixed with the local rats and made super rats in Chicago, New York, and other major cities where they had ports.
Wow.
Yeah, it got so bad in Chicago, they had super rat wanted posters stapled up in the alleys warning you about the super rats. They chased dogs and cats away.
Wow. Wow. Man, that dude told me, he said a squirrel ain't nothing but a tree rat. A tree rat.
Look, we've been eating squirrel a long time.
Yeah, my
In
dad
the
done believe
South, listen, in the South, a lot of our eating habits was more broader than they is living in the city. When you move to the city, you begin to limit your variety of things you cook
That's right.
because
That's right.
you got more of what you demand on hand, right? And then they
Right.
condition you to a certain diet and they push that diet through the local community, and that's how they keep you eating what they want you to eat.
Like in Atlanta, niggas eat wings 24 hours a day. In Atlanta. I
I
don't
eat
see how
fried
they got
chicken.
that many wings.
Look, I love fried chicken. That's cultural. Fried chicken originated over here. It didn't originate nowhere else.
Yeah,
It
I
was
can believe that.
right down there off the coast of the Mississippi, down into Louisiana, what we call the old Bayou area.
I can see that.
Big Mama used to fry the chicken legs and put them in the bowls on the counter for snacks because we ain't had no bags of potato chips. And right next to it was little squares of cornbread because we ain't have no bags of potato chips, no popcorn, no Doritos. Them was our snacks when visitors come to the house. It's a big pile of chicken already cooked in case somebody hungry when they come off of a long journey. That's cultural. That's ancient in the culture,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. People think that's bad now, like eating chicken and all that. But back then, you gotta keep in mind, we raised our own shit. Then chickens and all that. Everybody raised their own shit. That now they mass production and hormone. It's all kind of crazy
Right.
shit going
Well,
on.
they got to be able to effectively get us to consume toxins by using under pretense of preservatives,
Mm.
right? You gotta remember, refrigerators are only 150 years old. How do we keep our food fresh?
Well, all right, I mean not mother, Chief Warhorse said on the land how we kept our food fresh was two ways. One, we put them behind waterfalls. He said that the waterfalls were like our natural refrigerators for our land
Yeah.
for the buffalo meat. That's one way she said. And then another way, I think it was we did it like we salted it and planted it. I can't remember exactly the other one, but I know one of them was behind the waterfall. Like that,
Hmm.
it was like
Yeah.
our
The
natural.
other one is we used to store them in salt mines.
Okay, that's what it was. That's what she said. Salt mine.
You store the meat in the soft mine, it dehydrates the meat. It can't rot, and it can't build up bacteria.
Yeah, the smokehouse too. I think she said smokehouse.
Hmm. The
You smoke our
smokehouse is
meat.
what you did. That's part of the process of packing it on salt. This way you got salt
Yeah, yeah,
pork
that's
and
right.
all
That's
that
right.
stuff
That's right.
from
That's right.
salting the meat. So salting the meats was a remember salt used to be currency at one time. It was so valuable.
Right. Motherfucker started a war with that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right. So if you understand that, you know that when we was using salt as a means of preserving food, you know why we didn't trade it internationally on such a large scale.
That's right. That's right.
Now they dump it in the street to keep the water from freezing in the ice on the roads.
They starved us out, man. They wiped out buffalo. I remember you showed us that picture of all the buffalo heads that they were standing on. So
Hmm.
this been this like so to sum it up about the Conjure Wars. So they was after all of our survival way of survival. They attacked it. They was after any way they could shut us down and take control of us. You know what I'm saying?
It's okay. So this is what we was looking at. We wasn't looking at it, but this is what they were doing. It's a warfare strategy. The strategy is to control all of the key areas that people need for their survival to make them dependent on the system that you installing. So they sent outlaws to rob all of the big mamas banks, and then they offered to consolidate the banks under a central banking system because economics is the number one reason why they came. So economics was the first thing that they used to subdue us as a people.
Wow.
Then, once they took control of the economics by shutting all the big mama's banks down, because now we in a warlock, meaning all vaults are locked. Big mama ain't opening no more chambers. Go back to the movie National Treasure if you want to know what I'm talking about. But Big Mama ain't let no more money out her purse until we fix this problem on the land.
Yeah, Jesse
So
James wasn't robbing no damn white folks bank. He was robbing Big Mama shit. You know what I'm saying?
all of them
Jesse James.
outlaws, that's how they lured the banks into the FDIC protectorate agreement. Because the FDIC, being a branch of the federal government, would have full access to federal law enforcement. See, you got to
Wow,
see they've been playing a
wow.
subtle game the whole time.
Man,
Type
this is
in,
a nice Templar too.
you about to get me started on the tangent. We about done.
Man, we already 2 hours in, man. I told my wife I was gonna get off by yeah, man. I'm already over the time because I gotta get ready to get up like 5:30.
Yeah, just don't wrap us up. We can do another
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah, man.
another
Like
week.
we gonna come back on another one, man. We back in business now, man. We gonna get this shit. We gonna get this shit
But
cracking,
look,
bro.
hopefully the receipts showed them. And I wish they could have seen the other Dr. Clark clips. I might send them to you for the next show or something. Or I might have you post them as a short.
Yeah, yeah. We can come back on, man. We back in business, bro. Because everybody been waiting. Like I said, this was a perfect day to come back to the 23rd,
Hey, look,
8/22,
I'm gonna
23.
send you these two videos of Dr. Clark. Post them as a clip for
Okay,
people to
I got you.
see.
Hey, yeah,
Oh,
send it. Yes, yeah, send that to me. I got you. I got you. Hey, y'all, hit
yeah,
that like, hit that subscribe button, man. If you're new to the channel, man, hit that that bell. Like I said, my
yeah.
brother Rod don't do it for the money, but if you want to show him some love, like we say, we've been posting this cash app every 5 minutes for the people that been asking. You want to show them some love? Everybody, we got like 1,000 people on here. Everybody send them $1, man. Put them in the game.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna hurt you $1. You know what I'm saying? Put them in the
So
game. We'll be back
most of
tomorrow.
the day, what we was doing, Elder, is going over some of the receipts about what I spoke about on Brother Rich show.
Yeah, yeah.
And the study group is how the Nuwabians be teaching each other when new information emerge. So going on the back of what Dr. Clark said, reviewing what I was telling people on Brother Rich, we was able to show them varying different receipts, but they still got to do their own deeper investigation. And I even told them where to look for other stuff. So once you see that this is the chess game, then you
Mystery
understand that
Babylon
this
has
is the,
fallen.
and then you understand that this is the checkmate, because you'll be able to see it all playing out. And with
I
that,
see
that's
it,
all I
bro.
got. That's all I got for today, Elder.
Hey, Rod, somebody asked, did you have a PayPal?
I only got Cash App.
All right, so yeah, we'll probably get them lined out on that later. PayPal, like I know y'all got, or maybe you could get to send it to somebody and then they send it to Rod. We pay cash like. So yeah, hey, but look, we're gonna be back, y'all. We like you say, y'all love me and Rod when we come on because we can do. Like I say, we just warming up. This right here just a warm up, man. This is a warm up. We back now. Like we finna as the shit unfold, as this war unfolds, and as the different mechanism happen, because they put a black lady on Trump. He gonna turn himself in tomorrow. We're gonna see what go down on that. We're gonna keep you updated.
Now,
But
just remember, they also reporting that Trump, the judge
got
ruled
immunity.
Trump has qualified immunity.
Hell
So
yeah.
that's another thing we got to go investigate. I just seen a little thing on it, but I'm about to go look deeper into that because I want to see where the judge was at and a couple more other things about it.
Man, this shit ain't gonna none of this shit gonna stick on this dude. This is deep. This is deep state trying to keep this man from being the president again. That's what this
Look,
is.
his name Agent Orange for a reason.
Yeah, right.
You see all these
Hey,
fires, right? You see all
yeah,
these fires, right?
yeah.
And what I tell you they used in Vietnam to burn down them forests?
Agent Orange.
Agent Orange and napalm.
So did
Okay.
my granddad tell me about that.
Yes, sir.
He said they snipers can hide in them damn trees real good, and they were little niggas. They can hide down in a little bitty small tunnel. You know what I'm saying? They go to them tunnels.
Them
Them you
was the
talk,
tunnel rats, but them came after they had started burning down the trees because now they can't hide in the treetops no more.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Hey man, and then he said they used to drop little leaflets when they was over there. He said, "Man, nigga, go home. This ain't your war. White man, black man, go home. This ain't your war." They was trying to
They
tell him the whole
did.
time.
They
Go ahead.
did. You know who Stokely Carmichael is, right?
No, I feel like I heard that name before though. No, I can't think of
Stokely
who.
Carmichael was an activist in the '60s, and he went over to meet with Uncle Ho Chi Minh, and he told him, "Please tell them your brothers, and we ain't trying to shoot them. We trying to shoot the pale face that came over here, but they with him. You know, it is what it is."
Hey, so it's game. Hey, hey, that's real talk, bro. They with him, so hey,
Yeah,
we don't know what's going on. All right,
yeah.
bro. Man, we gonna call it a day, man. Hey, we gonna be back. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call you tomorrow, bro. So we can get set up for the next one. Hey, y'all, man, hit that like, man. Like I say, you already know that boy Rod be bringing that heat, bro. I'm telling you. Like, so this is we just warming up, man. We gonna be back. So, yeah, it's hotel. You want to say something, Rod, before we close out?
Nope.
All right. So Islam, hotel, peace. You know what I'm saying? Divine love throughout the balanced universe to all. Wadu.
What do?